for a gazillion years been sold to, you know? So before the days of social media, it was a one-way communication. The Yellow Pages or, you know, radio, TV, and we were talked at. So to suddenly change from that to realising that there is a two-way communication where the consumers have the power, it's very difficult for people to contend with. And so, you know, that's why people still want to advertise. And you know, they're spending lots on Facebook advertising or Instagram advertising or even LinkedIn advertising. And then they're turning around and saying, not working. And it's possibly not working because the way that they've created the ads is possibly not working because the landing page that it's led the ad to is not a great page, you know, doesn't give enough information. So whilst we both get frustrated about people selling at us, if you think about it, we're trying to change the mindset of, you know, of sales and marketing that's been happening in exactly the same way for 2,000 years or something like that. So so you know, we're just very early adopters of the new way of marketing, which is not to sell to people. And for people who think of starting business, they have no reference point. And so that's why they go straight into the selling. So, you know, it's a bit challenging for people to understand, but once they get it, you know.
Yeah, no, I love that. You're a very positive person. It's a very positive way to say that. I like that a lot. So in terms of, so you did Andrew and Pete's event, and you obviously did Alex's event. Now, have you been doing FOMO creation for non-marketing events as well?
Yes, I have. So I actually came back from Amsterdam. And I did a workshop there. So it was a very intimate affair, 10 facilitators sharing great information with each other. You know, some of the facilitators were in the space of facilitating for over 25 years. Some people were just starting out. Some people were thinking of transitioning from training into facilitating. So yeah, I have done FOMO for a lot of events that are nothing to do with social media marketing. And in fact, the one that I did in Amsterdam was quite interesting because a lot of the subject matter was very intimate. You know, they were sharing lots of issues that they may have had. And so because it was an intimate workshop, I had to create FOMO and not talk about the subject matter. So it's kind of like Fight Club, really. How do you create FOMO on an event where you're not allowed to talk about the event? And it was a bit of a challenge, but we did it. I mean,
know you did.
Yeah. So at the first event I did was actually in July. And first of all, Miriam Hadness, she said, so we don't do Twitter. I'd like you to create FOMO on Instagram. And I was like, wowzers. Okay, yeah, no problem.
Yes.
So again, I was challenged again because Twitter is my favourite platform. And so in creating stories, which I then repurposed onto Twitter and wrote a couple of posts on LinkedIn, it generated email signups for her, a 15% increase in followers, 7% increase in Twitter followers as well. And one of the posts that I wrote with her was actually pre-FOMO. And I think within 5 hours, we had about 1,700 views of the post. And Miriam was absolutely stoked. She couldn't believe the amount of reach that we had and the people that were connected with her, asking her more about her event. So that was in July. She hired me again in October. And so again, with the October event, it was primarily Instagram. We did some interviews, which will be released at a later date. And I also did some LinkedIn posts for her as well. So I created I think it was 4 LinkedIn posts talking about an event where I couldn't really talk about the essence of the event, the topic itself. Yeah. However, comments that were received on those posts when is your next event, which is exactly what you want. That's exactly what you want. And so it created FOMO. She's got people signing up for her January event already. It's incredible. So yeah, I can create FOMO about any subject, any topic. Doesn't need to be social media. I did FOMO for an artificial intelligence conference this year.
Excellent.
That was amazing. So it's just a case of I don't know, I've just got this special skill that I'm able to listen and post at the same time.
Yeah.
And do it constantly throughout the whole day. And I mean, for going back to Andrew and Pete, or actually I did a stat like a stat report on all the conferences that I did from March until I think it was August, and on average I tweeted about 1,200 times for each conference that I did.
Right, so actually I want to pick up on this a little bit, because not knowing you, they might not get it, right? So you turn up on the day and you're tweeting, et cetera, but what you're telling me that people need to listen carefully to is that you are then providing them with the statistics to show them the number of people that you've reached. So it's not like you just leave that day and off you go, cheerio, see you the next one. You are then compiling it and saying, right, Marianne, here's how many people we reached on different platforms. Here's how this posted, et cetera, et cetera. So you're actually getting data after the fact too. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So, with another conference, which is where I met you at. I mean, I'd seen you on the socials before, but I actually met you for the first time at Janet Murray's conference this year, Build Your Audience Live. And for her conference, I tweeted on average, I think it was 1,300 tweets for her. And we had a reach of 31 million people. On that day. The most incredible thing about Janet Murray's conference is that 55% of her tickets were sold for her next event, which is 2020 sorted in November. And that's power that FOMO can do. So with Andrew and Pete's conference, we reached 26 million on the day. On the same day as International Women's Day, we trended on the day as well in the United Kingdom. And also, most importantly for Andrew and Pete, is that they sold 425 tickets in a week.
Wow. So
that's what FOMO can do. I'm obviously, when I'm creating FOMO for an event, I am documenting about how exciting the event is. I'm quoting the speakers. I'm doing interviews with attendees. I'm doing interviews with sponsors and so on. I'm creating quite unique content as well, sharing and engaging with other attendees on social media. I do it non-stop all day, but it's the reach and also the conversion. So especially if you've got an event that's happening, in the next, few months, whatever that you want to sell and promote, and that's the whole idea. And even with Alex's conference or event, he had 60 financial advisors or mortgage brokers in the room. We created I created some LinkedIn posts. We did a lot of Facebook Lives in his dedicated group, and I repurposed the content that I put out onto Instagram, onto Twitter for him as well. And even with that, I did actually see there were a few messages that said, "Oh, darn it, we've got FOMO. We wish we'd come to this event." Which is great, because now they'll sign up to his next event.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's brilliant. So how on earth do you send 1,300 tweets in one day?
I've got very fast thumbs.
Yes,
well, I mean,
I have witnessed this.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, of the 1,300 tweets, not all of them are original content. Some of them are retweets. Some of them are engagements. So I think, on average, at 10 to 12% of those tweets will be original tweets that I've create myself. Okay. But it doesn't matter, really, you know, as long as I can, you know, I'll not retweet just like retweeting, I'll retweet. And also the other thing as well is I'm tweeting on my client's account, not on mine. The only reason I would create tweets on my account is if I've been blocked. So Twitter, at times, have thought that I was a robot because I was tweeting so quickly. I blocked my client's account, and then I had to, you know, go onto my own account and then tag my client in. Yeah. So earlier this year, I was tweeting at a conference for the public sector. And it was an incredible conference in Manchester, and I got blocked 3 times. Wow. So Comms Hero, which is the name of the Twitter account, I got blocked. And I went on to Making Tea for 20 minutes when they realised that we were not robots. And in fact, one of our supporters actually tweeted the vice president of Twitter, say, "Hey, Comms Hero is not a robot, you know, Making Tea is a real person. Can you help us out here?" He did actually respond. He said that, "Oh, well, you know, emailing me is not tweeting me is not the great, it isn't going to help you, but what you can do is email these guys," or something like that. So, but we got his attention, and it gave us an immediate response, which is great. So, yeah.
It's funny because I actually love Twitter as well, and I know that Twitter seems to be like the poor left out cousin in the cold sometimes in social media. But I love spending time on Twitter.
Yeah, it really is. Like you say, the poorest cousin of all the social medias. But for me, I think that you get a greater connection with people. Yeah. I think it gets a bad reputation because there are a lot of celebrities who are showing us what they're having for dinner, or they're showing us, you know, what outfit they're wearing for whatever gala, and this, that, and the other. But Twitter will always be the place for events. Yeah. If you run an event, you have to have a hashtag. And if you have a hashtag, where do you use that? You will always use it on Twitter. Yes. And in fact, in collating stats for my clients, because Facebook and Instagram have not opened their API, it means that I'm not actually able to grab any statistics from them. I have to manually count the reach of the post and the comments and so on for my clients. But Twitter is very open, and so there are various reporting tools that shows you how much reach you can get, how many retweets, and this, that, and the other, which is great. So, but Twitter will always be the place for events. It's where you have the highest accolade if you're able to get your event to trend. So I've been able to have, an event in Dublin to trend in Ireland. You know, helped events to trend in England and the UK, and even in attending events in the States. You know, I've been able to get my name in the top 10. Well, actually, number 1 for one conference in the States. So Twitter will always be the place for events, and it's like I say, you tend to have deeper and meaningful connections with people and great conversations with people on Twitter as well. But that's what I found anyway. But yeah, it is tourist cousin. LinkedIn is a flavour of the month at the moment, and Instagram, of course. And I'm really glad that LinkedIn has moved away from being all formal and stuffy, and now, you know, by bringing in and emojis, and you can do video. It's an incredible space right now.
Yeah, I have to say, after Alex's event, there was a conversation between you and me and Alex's partner Andrea on LinkedIn, and it got so much attention.
Yeah, and you know, and it was great. And in fact, I created, I think it was 6 LinkedIn posts for Alex that day, and one of them was where I'd taken a few photographs of you in action, and I wrote a little bit about what you talked about that day, and that was my best performing LinkedIn post of all the other LinkedIn posts. It was incredible. But yeah, it's the comments, engagements, you know, that's what we're striving for, not how many followers and connections you have. You know, people really want to get to know who you are, what you're up to, what you're doing, as well as the salesy stuff too.